sometimes we go, oh, when I get the label backing, I'm gonna execute that idea. Oh, when when I get to this point, I'm gonna do this thing. And I'm at this point where I believe that we don't wait for it. We gotta go take it.
You are now listening to The GRDNT RADIO, an open space to converse about creativity with creatives. And I'm your host, Antonio Knoxx. And today we have a special guest. Today, our guest is Virginia's underground best kept secret. Today, our guest is Saekyi.
Yo, hey, and you got the name right on the first go, bro. I want to applaud you on that. I get a lot of Saekyi, so that's dope.
Hey,
Thank you, man.
Hey, of course, bro. Thank you for coming on, bro.
Always, bro. I'm a huge fan.
One of the biggest things I appreciated with you is you were persistent with wanting to be on the platform. It wasn't just just asking to be on it, but you also you watched the episodes and you was like, yo, I really want to be on. I believe I can contribute to being on it. And so I appreciate your persistence with all of that.
Thank you, man. I mean, it was on my, I have a list. I made an Excel sheet of platforms that I wanted to target last year, and I really wanted to engage with the tape and everything.
Yeah.
And then it was top of the list. So I was like, and that's the thing about me. I really try to, I don't fake fan, if that's the word. You know what I mean? I don't want people to be fake fans of me. So
For sure.
if you actually want to be on something, know what you're trying to do. You know what I mean?
Facts.
So, yeah, and plus, you're right. We already talked about it.
Absolutely.
Bro, so.
I appreciate it, bro.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So for the people who may not know who you are, could you introduce yourself?
All right. Well, my name's Saekyi. That's spelled Saekyi. I'm an independent artist from Northern Virginia, Woodbridge to be specific. And I do a bunch of things. I mean, I built a phone booth and turned it into a listening booth recently. I throw shows. Honestly, whatever I want to do, I kind of do it. So that kind of formulates it. And my genre is not specific. I kind of pick it when I go.
That's fire. That's fire. We spoke about that, not putting yourself in a box and being optimal for many different disciplines. Mm-hmm. How did you get your start just as a creative in particular?
As a creative. I mean, I feel like I've always been tapped into something creatively. I recently came to this epiphany with my family last year that my dad, when I was growing up, he had these huge speakers, early 2000 speakers. So they're wooden and they're just super loud, really high. It's a bunch of highs and mids, no bass for real. Mm-hmm. But he would play them in the basement, right? We had a single family home. We also had a townhouse, and he would just play them in the basement. He had these it's an 8-track or ACD thing where you put the ACDs in and shit. And he would just be running through them. Tim McGraw 1 second, Boyz II Men 1 second. And then, you'd be listening to some old African. I'm talking about some African shit that you got to look deep, grave. Great dig, you know what I mean?
For sure,
to find out. And so, in me, as a kid, I realized my ear was really attracted to that. I'd be watching TV and my ear would be oh, he's singing this song. So as an adult now, when I'm playing the radio or my girl puts a song on, I go, oh shit, my dad used to sing that shit, bro. And my dad's African, but he would be singing that shit from the soul. It was the ballad of all ballads, you know? So that really got me, I feel that's where my musical ear and attention to all these different genres really came from, listening to that. But creatively, man, I mean, I used to draw as a kid, and I went to high school at a school for film. So it was a school for literally for film. I was in a film competition, came up to VCU my junior year. So I really was actually really big into that. People thought I was going to be doing film going forward. But music kind of just, pulled me in. So I feel I've always been dabbling since I was a kid.
Yeah. Some of the people I've spoken to during this season, they spoke about the influence that either their grandparents had or their parents had. Mm-hmm. And it seemed like it was relatively the same for you for what your father was listening to. Mm-hmm. Have you spoken to your father about that now that you're kind of immersed much more into music?
I actually haven't, which is crazy. I mean, he's in Ghana right now, so I haven't really I I feel like when we really talk about like life shit, not really like the creative side.
For sure,
but I think it would be cool for him to see it. Like in my family, we have like an understanding that my dad was a dreamer, right? I feel like he still is a dreamer. He's a dreamer through and through, right? But his main core in the family was just being this big dreamer. He wants the big things and he wants to shoot for the stars. Like his biggest saying was like, America, the land of the free and all that. You know, you're coming for opportunities and da-da-da. Yeah. So I feel like as a kid, when you hear that, when you see that from somebody, you know, and then you also go into the world where I was lucky enough to find friends who also were engaged in those same things. It's like, it allowed me the opportunity of free thought. You know, I feel like that gave me a lot of, it gave me chances to dream at home. And then when I got older now, like my sisters and my mom, like they came around to it, but you know, like they gave me the freedom to, you know, in the space to really dive in and like try to take this shit seriously.
Yeah. So I was going to ask, you're not first generation. Because you got
I am first generation.
You're first generation. Okay.
My mom, I always get confused with that. I learned it at VCU.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm first gen, but I'm not the real first gen. Like
that's what I was saying. Yeah, so I was gonna ask, like, is your sister like older or is she younger? But she seems like she's older.
So I got two older sisters. I got Stephanie, she's my oldest sister, and then Ashley, she's my second to oldest sister, and then there's me. I'm the only one. I'm the only boy. I mean,
So are they more focused in like
real world shit? I mean, my oldest sister, she's in the CDC. My middle sister, she works in IT, you know. So I feel like when it comes to me, they always like my brother-in-law always goes like, y'all give him the space, man. Like let the boy cook type shit, you know what I mean? Because they're like they kind of see what I'm doing as unorthodox but lottery. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I feel I like it because I love the belief of like let him work because our jobs can be limited in a sense. His kind of has no cap. Yeah, you know?
Facts.
And so, but they're all supportive now. Like my mom, she was like, I saw, like when I dropped the tape, she was like, randomly, it was like on a Sunday, I was looking on my YouTube. Yeah. And she commented on it. She was like, you're doing great, babe. And I was like, what amazing. The fuck? I was like, why are you on YouTube, bro? Yeah. But, so they've been showing love and they've been helping out a lot.
Yeah, that's fire. I can imagine like your life probably would have been like vastly different if you were like the first one.
Oh, 100%. We talk about it all the time. Yeah. You know, I say to my biggest sister all the time, like, I would not be able to make music or do any creative without her taking the hits. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like luckily and she's still creative in her own way, you know, and it's cool to see how she went and found that, but her opportunities were way more limited as far as like just things she could do, you know, like the perfect way to look at it is like she brings a boyfriend to the house for the first time. It's a lot of friction. Yeah. My girlfriend be staying at the crib, bro. Like my mom loves my girlfriend. You know what I mean? So it's like it really kind of just being the last born. I got so much freedom and so much privilege in that. But being able to reflect on that gives me a lot of like level-headedness as well. Yeah.
So at what age did you actually start the music?
I want to say my sophomore year of high school. Okay. Sophomore year of high school is when I first ever made a song. And it was with my friend Eric Polite. We was in his house. And so Eric Polite was like my best friend in middle school. And his mom allowed him the chance to like really get into the music stuff, really helped him with it, really pushed him. You know, guitar lessons, the whole nine, you know. And so he came home one day and he was like, yo, like he went to a school called Woodbridge, and that's like the music school in Woodbridge. And he'd be like, yo, come over. I got this like whole thing. And he's GarageBand or it was Logic. He was like, yo, we can like make a song. So I pulled up. He was like, yo, let's record the shower. And so the shower was pouring. So we recorded the shower and then we made this song called Quick Shower. And you know, I'm just rapping and this is really like drone, like really trying to sound like Lil Wayne for real. Had like some auto-tune on it. But yeah, no, it was like my first thing. And we put it up on SoundCloud because SoundCloud was big at the time and got like 1,000 plays. And I was like, 1,000 random people listen to this shit. And so that really kind of opened my eyes to like, okay, like, you know, other people at school was like, quick shower, you know? And so, but it was horrible. That song was so bad. so bad. But it was cool. It helped me realize, oh, cool, like this could be something.
Yeah. That's pretty interesting because I put a song on SoundCloud and it got like 1.5K, but I didn't like pursue that in the way that you pursued it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
to me back at that time, bro, 1.5. I mean, still to me,
for sure,
like, even seeing anybody listen is still like crazy. But especially being like, what was that, like 15, and like you've always liked music, but now like random people are listening to your music.
Nah, it's fact.
Yeah, nah, that shit, like, it woke me up. I feel like that was my first time going, okay, like, my voice isn't just my voice. Like, it can do more than what I think it can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so after that point, what was the like next step? Like, once you got over 1K, what was that next step process of you like, okay, like, I believe I can do this?
Yeah.
How did you then start to like develop your sound?
So I had a group of friends. They were called Pharaoh Gang back in high school, and so this is like the year after, like 20. That's when I was like a junior, so 2015. And my best friend Cammy Dubs, he called me and he was like, he saw me, and I used to do just different things around school. So somehow they knew I made music, and he was like, "Oh, I heard you sing. Come over to the crib later because we're doing like, me and the guys, we just meet up type thing." So I was like, all right, cool. So went with them to the crib, and they had this like, it was like this basement style, cocoon style studio, where it's like he had a big room over there. His bed was over there, but there was like a wall blocking it. But there's like this little cubby, and that's where the studio was, right? It had like I think it was like a Rode NT1, but it was like, it was everything we had in there was bad. Like all the equipment we have in there, the MacBook we were working off of was horrible. It was just a bad MacBook, always crashing. And so, but it allowed me a space with other creatives who wanted me to do a thing that I didn't think I could do. Like, the only thing he wanted me there for was to sing. And I was like, bro, I don't sing. Like, I kept telling him that. I was like, I don't sing. You know, and he was like, nah, you gonna sing, right? And so, and if anybody knows Cam, you know, he's a personality. So like when he tells you he's gonna, you know, you're gonna do something, you're gonna do it. So I sang on a couple of tracks with them, and you know, just the energy started clicking, and you know, then we started making other songs together, and then we became a group, and then other people in our school started liking the songs we were making, and it just kind of became a whole thing that got bigger than us alone, where like at school they know you as the guy who makes music. Like, you know what I mean? Like all my friends back at then were like, oh, you're a rapper, you know?
Yeah.
And in high school, I don't know if this is the same for a lot of people, but when people tell you that, like, you believe it. Like I full-hearted was like, oh no, like that's true. Like I do this thing, you know? But at the same time, I'm also African, first generation. So money is also a really big, you know, contributor to like the things that I can and can't do. So that opportunity didn't feel real until I got to college, and I dropped a song called Suicide Bomber. It's like probably like my first song out on like Spotify, Apple Music and all that.
Yeah.
And I dropped it. It did pretty good. And then I did a show, my first show ever in DC. It was like April of 2018. And people were singing it. Like to me, they were singing the chorus. They're like, you say, you don't want to be. And I'm like looking at people in the crowd just like vibing to it. And it's a slow song. It's like, it's not even that fast paced. So to learn the words for that is pretty interesting. And then that was to me the moment. Like I remember I went home and I was like, nah, like I'm doing music. I was like, music is it. Like that's priority number one from here on out. Cause random people like the words that I'm saying to the point where they memorize it.
That's
you know
crazy.
what I mean?
That's amazing. That
shit hit me and I was like, yeah, nah. I was like, nah. Like I went home and I was like, I gotta figure out what does it take to become a musician and how do I do it? And I gave myself a 2-year time limit. I was like, in the first 2 years, how can I prove to my mom that it's worth her believing in me doing it? You know, so and that I feel like ever since then I've just been working to do that.
Yeah.
That brings me here.
And you've been consistent. You've been consistent with it. So I definitely want to speak about the aspect of like putting your first song on a platform, as platforms such as like Spotify or like Apple Music. What was that process like? Because I know a lot of people out there potentially want to do the same thing. What was the process like, and how did you discover of doing like that process? I
mean, back at that time, it wasn't that well known. I don't feel like now. I feel like it's like
probably everywhere.
The distro kids, and then we get ads for them now. But back at the time, I had a friend, still one of my close homies, Babe Kojak, and Babe Kojak was like our genius. He was our gem, you know, and he would find everything out. So he really was like a really big, like the first step in us like taking things a lot more serious. And so he was the first one that I think brought it up to the group, and he was like, yo, we could put stuff out through this thing called CD Baby.
Okay.
Right. And it was either him or Cammy Dubs, or both of them like together. But they were like, yo, we could put this thing out on CD Baby, and that's how we get our songs on Apple Music and all this other stuff. I was like, okay, cool, I guess. You know, I was like, I mean, the SoundCloud thing is working, but whatever. And then yeah, and so like because of that, I went ahead. It wasn't. I was like when I feel like now it's second nature, but it wasn't that complicated. I feel at that time because the platform was really just straightforward. I think the most daunting thing was understanding certain terminologies. You know, like certain terms and just like a lot of these like numbers and codes that they had and what the importance was that I personally I hadn't found out until like 2 years ago, you know? So, but it really allowed an opportunity to reach way more people.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking about, there's so many people who even at that time weren't using SoundCloud. And they were like, oh yeah, I saw that. My friends showed me that you were on Apple Music. So I saved it. Yeah. You know? And I was like, oh, like it woke me up to the fact that being limited in one space doesn't allow me to reach everybody I want to reach.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I recently seen that you were up like 22,000 plays on Spotify monthly. Yeah. Like, how does that feel to go from like people, the first time you saw people remember I can't say the word. Memorizing like your words, singing your tunes, to then getting to like 22,000 monthly.
Crazy. I mean, to me, like I say it to Eric all the time, bro. Like I see one person listening to this shit, like, bro, you could do a million other things with your life right now. In those 3 minutes or 2 minutes that song is going on. You know, but you choose to like listen to me singing it, right? And I mean, I've had people from Italy reach out to me being like, yo, you need to come do a show out here. I got a lot of homies from out there that I talk to consistently. You know, I've gone to New York and work with people, and it's just like being able to see the music reach so far. I think it is crazy to me from the kid who was like on SoundCloud from a bedroom standpoint, you know, and it just energizes me daily, you know, because it's like you can reach more people. Yeah. You know, and I see it all the time. You know what I mean? I got homies who are at the 200s and homies at the 500s, and you know, you see people at the millions, and it's like, but it allows me to really refocus and not depreciate that I don't even know 22,000 people. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And it's like, but now you know that that's a possibility though, because there's 22,000 people who've heard your voice.
Exactly.
You know? So yeah, nah, shit. Still to this day, that shit's crazy to me, man. That shit's wild.
So when was the first time that you created like a body of work? When you created like your first project?
I would say my first real project is Angels Don't Call Me, the one I just dropped. But when I put a collection of songs together, oh no, I just lied. My first real project was this song called Complexity to Simplicity. Okay. You can still find it on like Dat Piff. That's the type of shit that you, that's how you have to like put a shit out back then. Dat Piff, SoundCloud and shit. But yeah, no, that was the first time I was like really like concerted effort. I had like 6 or 7 songs on there, and I really wanted to make like a through line of like concept. Okay. And again, wasn't good, but you know, like there's a lot in that aided towards me making Angels Don't Call Me. You know, like there's a lot of just little things I learned, you know, different ideas that I got to execute there that came to life later down the line. But yeah, my first real project I feel like is Angels Don't Call Me, because from beginning to the end, like it was thought. Okay. You know what I mean? It was an idea and it got executed. Yeah. Yeah. But others, like Sunset Demos also was cool because how it came together. Because it was just randomly.
Speak about that process, because I know like every project is like vastly different in how you make it, and you're also like at a different point in your life too.
100%. I mean, Sunset Demos was that, just demos, you know? It was like I had a couple songs here, a couple songs there, all YouTube beats. So like I was just scouring YouTube at that time, and I realized, I was like, yo, these 2 songs sound good to this song. Like I just started sequencing shit, and I was like, oh. And then I got like my first song, Free Fall, that really was having some movement.
That song is fire, bro. I was gonna bring that up. I love that song, bro.
Thank you. But it started having some real movement. Like I saw it hit like it hit like 200 before the tape came out, you know? And at that point, I hadn't even had anything reach nearly that point. So to me, I was like, okay, like I'm actually hearing questions about a project from people like that listen to me, and it's actually seeming like it makes sense. So sonically, it just, all these songs made sense, and the stories that were being told in the songs connected like a through line. So it just that one fell in my lap. That's how I always say it. Like Sunset Demos just like, they just all came together. There were gems that just fell in my lap, and then they came together and people fucked with them. But Angels Don't Call Me was like the first time I think I really got to use my voice the way I wanted to use my voice.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's how like it can be heard in some of the songs where there's a lot more passion in those songs, and I feel like Sunset Demo had.
Yeah. So when you speak about like now with that particular project that you wanted to use your voice in a specific way, what do you think was holding you back before that you weren't able to utilize your voice the way that you wanted to?
YouTube beats.
Okay.
100% YouTube beats. I view YouTube beats like this. Imagine you move into a house that was owned by somebody else. And then imagine you built that house with a designer, which like in your own image.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
It's like you'll know where the outlet is if you close your eyes and you go right here because you've been dreaming about that outlet over and over again.
Yeah.
In that new place, you got to like touch the walls. You got to like look at it, visualize it. So YouTube beats really just like you're trying to fit the idea that somebody made for somebody else. They were producing this thinking about Tyler, the Creator.
Yeah.
Tyler, the Creator would probably never be on that beat, but you know what I mean? Like that's what that's how they envision Tyler, the Creator. On this tape, working with Brandon John and working with Noah Terefe and working with, I don't want to forget his name, Dan Edinburgh, that's the homie. You know what I mean? Working with all these people, they were like, I want to make songs in your image. Like that, like I remember when I got in with Dan, he was like, I've been listening to your songs and I've been listening to them a lot. This is the beat I'm going to play for you. A lot of people don't do that. They go, yo, I got these beats that I'm also going to send to like 20 other niggas, but one of these I think is going to be for you. And it's like, no disrespect to that, because that's, you find some gems in that too. But like that experience of really having a curated look at your music, at your like just whatever you're trying to create, it just makes it so much more natural. And just again, the passion just comes out naturally. I cannot describe how some of those verses were written because it was God, you know what I mean? Like it was like a spiritual thing. It wasn't really even me writing for real. Yeah.
So I can imagine like your works, your songs are your babies in a way.
Oh yeah.
So I was it's probably difficult for you to probably like pick a favorite, right? Would you say?
Oh no, Angels Don't Call Me all the way.
Okay.
All the way, 100%. But yeah, I call my children, like my first tape, like I always say people treated my first child right. Now with my second child, they've been treating her amazing. You know what I mean? Like it really is just you're creating something thorough. And for me, I create thoroughly from myself. These are my stories or stories of my homies or people around me, or, and everything has a connection to me. So it really is like me giving pieces of myself away. And so when people take care of them and people appreciate them in a way that I feel like is respectful, I feel like that's all you ask for, bro. Like I've said it, like for Sunset Demos blew me away. Like 1 million plays altogether, and people actually listen to this shit. And it's like I at that point was never even aiming for that, but y'all got that from me. And then Angels Don't Call Me, the reception of like I did a show at the Songbird in DC.
Okay.
I went up to sing the lead single, Angels Don't Call Me. And then I'm like, everybody's singing it. And I got these in-ears in. So like, you can barely hear.
Yeah.
But like, I started hearing
you can hear it come through.
And I just was like, what? And I was like, oh, y'all sing it. And bro, I'm talking about like damn near on the edge of tears. Cause I'm like, these songs don't have no more than but like 20-something thousand plays. You know what I mean? And like to somebody that might be like, that's a little bit.
Yeah.
But I had a room of 100+ people singing that shit. And I didn't ask them to. I didn't teach it to them. You know what I mean? Like, it to me was like, okay, like when you make something of yourself that you truly believe in, people connect to that.
Yeah. And just kind of like what you said too, like when you put yourself into something, people can also feel that.
100%. 100%. Now, the amount of people who've hit me up talking about, yo, I was going through a breakup and this tape really helped me with that, And I'm like, damn, like that's
crazy.
That's what I wanted it for. So it's cool that it can be executed that way, and just other people just loving the music to the point where they're like, yo, I still bump your shit from 2-3 years ago, and it's like, I can't remember a song that I bumped that long other than Kendrick and them. So like the fact that I'm that for you, or you can hear me in that same vein, like that's crazy. You know what I mean? To me, at least, like that blows me away. So Nah, it's some cool shit that comes from this music thing.
That's also the great thing about music too. It's like it's timeless. Like you'll always remember how you felt in that particular moment. So that person who was going through a breakup at that time, they will always correlate that song or that body of work with you. 100%. And so like you're ultimately becoming like a time capsule for like this person,
100%,
which is crazy to think about.
100%. I mean, I always I used to say I want to become the soundtrack to a period of somebody's life. You know, I feel like I had projects like that, like Channel Orange. I can remember what I was living like at
2012.
That time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I remember vividly
Summer, I
all
remember
the
that.
things that were happening at that time. And, you know, Igor.
Okay.
Like Igor was a soundtrack of my life. Like I was walking every day with that shit, you know? And so my goal with this music thing is to become somebody else's soundtrack. You know what I mean? Something that connects with you enough that day in and day out, you're like, nah, like this is explaining what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not gonna be forever. It's for seasons, you know? And I think that's something I appreciate too, because I'm like, I don't need you to listen to me every single fucking day. But the fact that I can be there for 3 months for you when you needed it like that, that's the important part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So what was the journey from like the first time you had your first performance to like getting to like the place of 100 people? You said the place was like Songbird.
Yeah.
Singing your song. What was that like process, and how did you develop the confidence to be on stage and to sing your songs in the manner that you do?
I mean, I've always been, I did plays when I was in elementary school, and I did a competition called Mr. Hilton. I lost, but I did it in high school, you know. So performing actually isn't too far away from me. Actually, I think that's probably where I live more naturally than like making music specifically, like away from that space. But it really was with my girlfriend, Nana, who, that's her stage name, but her name's Nana. But she was the one that really kind of pushed me back in 2018. There was like this open mic. I want to say VC was putting on an open mic, and she was like, yo, like submit to it. It was just like this chill thing in like a basement room underneath the like main library or area place. And she was like, yeah, submit to it. They're gonna like your music, and then go perform. And she helped me practice, and it was just like a lot of like her putting that energy in me, because my girl's dramatic. So with that drama and that anything y'all see me being real, you know, like extra, like I really get that from her. So that really helped in guiding me and giving me the confidence. But then just doing the work, man, like going in and out of like different shows. I remember 2018 or 2019, I did like 7 to 10 shows that year, but most of it was from like May down that I did like those 7 to 10 shows. So I was just like doing anything I could do, you know? And then I started throwing my own shows in 2020. Towards the end of the year, I want to say 2020 or 2021, I started throwing my own shows. And it started giving me that confidence being in front of my crowd, you know, people who are here specifically to see me. They've heard my music, you know, and you know, just looking at other people perform. I love he used to go by Huey Supreme, but now he goes by Jesse Boone. Okay. One of the greatest performers I've seen, you know, and he's a homie, but like just seeing him on stage, I say it to him all the time. I've stolen so much that you've done on a stage for myself. Yeah. You know, and then Eric Penn. Oh my God. One of the best performers that I've ever seen. Like it's chills every time I hear that nigga sing, but it's like seeing his composure and also being like, that's my brother, you know, and being able to like learn from him and actually take in information from him, and just, you know, getting off a stage and seeing that nigga look at you and go, you killed that shit, bro. Like that to me is like,
feels good. Yeah.
It feels great. And it puts that battery in your back that like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. So yeah, man, it's a lot of work, a lot of practices, and a lot of like execution of ideas, you know, and then trying to see what's the next thing you can execute on a stage. Yeah. Right. But at the end of the day, I'm just a narcissist that likes people looking at me. And that's why the stage is the best place for me, because I'm on stage. You can only look at me.
And people pay you basically.
Oh yeah, people pay me, you know. But I think that's the coolest thing about performing. It's really getting to play out a role, I feel. When I'm on that stage, I'm not, you know, I'm not just like me. I'm not gonna say my government on here, but I'm not just me. You know, when I'm on a stage, I'm Saekyi. You know, the idea of what Saekyi's supposed to be. You know what I mean? And I think people receive that really well.
Yeah. I think the first time you came into like my preview was when you did a collaboration with Kidz At.
Yeah, the homies. Yeah. That was cool.
Yeah. What was that process like, and how y'all came together?
I mean, Kidz. I mean, I've seen them. No, craziest thing, Jacob, the manager. Right?
Yep.
Jacob's amazing.
Mhm.
Jacob's been working his ass off for years. He's actually a genius.
Yep.
But I was in a Chipotle. The Chipotle down the street.
VCU, yep.
Just randomly getting Chipotle, looking like a bum. If you ever see me outside of the uniform, I am a bum. Like, I'm in some sweats, you know what I mean? My hair is crazy. So I'm just getting my Chipotle, not trying to look for nobody. He goes, "Are you Saekyi?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Yo, so I manage this guy, blah, blah, blah." And I think he was with somebody he managed. So he's like, "I also manage this guy right here." He's like, "Yo, you should come through the studio. We got this group, Kidz At play, da-da-da." And I'm like, hell yeah, cool, yeah, of course. Hey, send me the music and da-da-da. I was like, yeah, 100%. I took down his number and shit. And then, from there, somehow, some way, I ended up in the studio with them, which was like their basement of their house at the time.
Yeah.
And again, it just reminded me of the studio that I had when I was with Pharaoh Gang, and we was doing that shit in the basement. And I was just like, nah, bro, like, I love this. And then one of the artists was also the engineer. And then, we're just all chatting about this life shit and trying to make this shit happen. And nah, it was, for me, I feel like it's always nice to get that connection with artists where in the rawest form, we are just kids trying to have fun.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And so it was cool. And that song, we just did a show together in Norfolk at the end of last year. And we were just talking about how like that song is so much better than we actually remember it being.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love that fucking song. But it's like, it's one of those joints where you make it, you drop it, and you're like, oh, I wish we would have done more marketing on it. But it's like, hey, it served its purpose for us to enjoy it, bond, and and I see them niggas going crazy. That shit makes me so happy.
Nah, they going wild, bro. Like, they don't stop.
They don't stop. That shit puts a battery in my back,
They're really
bro.
consistent, like, all the time.
Bro, I'm telling you, like, I see that shit and I go, ooh, there's something in there that I want. And I use it and put it to myself, too. I see how they move and I'm like, cool, I'm on TikTok. Y'all killing it on TikTok? Cool, I'm on TikTok. I mean, y'all throwing shows for free and having people come out and have a great time. I'm going to throw shows for free in my own way that still fits my branding and fits me as a person. And we're going to get these niggas to pull up. Because if I see something working well for somebody else and I feel like I can adapt it, I'm going to adapt it. But especially when it's from my people, because it's like, those people are just like me.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like they're family. So it's like me seeing my family eat, I take some of that. And I hope they can do the same thing for me when they see me do something. They go, oh, Saekyi did that's pretty cool. I'm going to try to pick it up myself. So nah, like I love those kids, bro. They crazy. They crazy.
I mean, at the end of the day, I believe we're all here to like inspire each other. So like 100%. If you take from them, anybody else, it's all about the process.
100%. And I think art that people don't understand, everything's been done.
Yeah.
Everything's been done. So everything is deft.
Yep. Everything's a remix.
So if you look at like the phone booth I made, right? The interior, we have a Baroque pattern on the inside, right? That's from like the 20s and further back, it's from Victorian, but it was really big from the 20s. Me and my girl, we loved the 1920s art period, right? I just stole it from then. But if you don't know about that period you go, oh, the taste. It's so extravagant. Like, you know what I mean? It's like,
it's a fact.
All we doing is all the theft that we bring in is what makes us who we are. Yeah. So as pure and as detailed as you can be with the things that you take and you morph them together, that's what originality is.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So to me, I feel like that's what I try to do, even with performing, right? All the qualities that I've taken from all these other performers, I've seen Kendrick Lamar, Tyler, all these other people. I go, okay, cool. But when I step on stage, all of them come together.
Exactly.
And now it feels original to the viewer.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
You know what they say, great artists steal.
Oh, all the time.
Great artists still.
All the time.
Honestly, that's how I became like really great. Like, because at first I was just trying to recreate the will. I was like, I don't want to look at like anybody else's like work. I'm gonna just try to like use my brain. But at the time I didn't have enough like information to create something new. So it always came out trash. And then I read this book, Still Like an Artist. And I was like, this actually makes sense.
Makes so much sense.
And it gave examples of like people stealing, like other great artists stealing. I'm like, yo, let me start like stealing like other people's stuff. And then I started like taking bits and pieces and like adding it to my work. And that's when I realized like everything is a remix of something else. And it seems like you've 100%. Done the same thing.
I mean, as long as it's not blatant, that's always my thing.
Exactly.
Like I can tell when someone's like blatantly copied and it's like, okay, that's just lazy. Right. But to do the work and really try to, I think a lot of it is like the self-reflection aspect, right? Like I have to self-reflect that I can't steal from Taylor Swift because me and Taylor Swift have no relation, right? But when I look at Tyler and I see the things that Tyler does and I see how he works and I go, oh shit, I see so much of myself in Tyler, right? There's certain things that he can do that can inspire me. And, you know, you take the good from it and you leave the bad. And now you've made a completely different thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's always the thing as an artist. You have to be able to steal correctly.
Yeah.
And if you steal the wrong way, everybody's gonna go, hey, ain't that
people gonna know?
Ain't that Drake line? And you're like, hey, whoa. You know, so I mean, but I think that's once you come, and also I feel like once you come to terms with that, you can also understand that like you don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? Like your music will sound original because it's your voice.
Yeah.
Nobody sounds like you. And if you feel like somebody does sound like you, you're sounding like them. You know what I mean? Like go back, try to find yourself. The best thing my best friend Miriam said to me way back when, she was like, I like the music, but I just can't get into your voice. Right. And now I think the biggest compliment I ever get is when people talk to me, they're like, you don't sound nothing like your music. Like, what the fuck? And it's like, but I love your voice, your tone. And it's like, yeah, that's a practice to find what fits me, what suits me, you know? So I think people really got to be able to reflect, think about themselves and who they are, who they want to be, and also find a way to bring that out through whatever they're creating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, now in this season for me, I'm big into like art direction, and I've definitely noticed like your art direction when it comes to like just anything you put out, especially your projects.
Yeah.
What is the mindset behind what you do?
I mean, I'm telling a story, a cohesive story. So all aspects of it connect. You know, if you go to Sunset Demos, play from the beginning, and you play all the way through Angels Don't Call Me, there's an idea there that's being translated, and because of that, it makes it so much easier when it comes to like you know, what to put here, how to frame the concept that I'm trying to make come across, because I'm just telling another part of a story. Yeah. You know? And so for me, like I remember I sat down with you know, Eric. I remember Eric and Brandon the first time, and you know, we're just sitting there in a session where we're not even making music, we're just chatting for hours, you know, and I'm like, yo, I'm telling them this 10-year plan, you know, and I'm seeing these grown men with their eyes like, and their jaw dropping, they're like, bro, what? Like, it's that detailed? And I'm like, yeah, no, I know what the last album is. You know what I mean? At least ideally, broad strokes. 100%, yeah. You know? And so Angels Don't Call Me was just a place I had to step into. You know, it was the next thing in the story, next part of the story. So a lot of the art direction, the style, and even like the uniform and all that, like, it's very thought out to the character, to the idea, and what I'm trying to, you know, help come across. So it just makes it easier though. And also, like, I can't leave it out. My best friend, Jay Rayna, he directs all my shit. He is that guy's eye is ridiculous, you know what I mean? And he's DPs everything I do. He directs a lot of the stuff I've done. And so, like, you know, having him, my girlfriend, her eye is impeccable. Her detail, her attention to detail is ridiculous. So, you know, having those two filters, you know, you bring a bad idea to my girlfriend, she gonna spit it out. I bring a good idea, kind of, but she don't want to be mean. But then I take it to Josh, and it's a bad idea, tear to shreds, you know? And so having those two filters allows you, you know, I don't get a lot of chances to put some bad shit out. And if I do, they're going to look at me and be like, why didn't you send that to me? Yeah. Like, why would you do that? Like, just talk to us, you know? So yeah, I got a lot of help around me to keep me on the at least to express my ideas in the way I want to. Yeah. Yeah.
So I know you got a couple of things coming up. I know you got a show coming up on the 28th.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Speak about a little bit about your future.
Yeah,
and things are coming up, and you know, the project.
I mean, I personally, a big goal of mine, or a big epiphany I had after my last show, in 2022, was that you have to prove to people what you're worth, right? And I feel like a lot of the time I recently been saying this a lot. I was doing things in the wrong order, right? I'm asking somebody to spend $12 on me who ain't never even seen me. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I mean, it's $12 and I would spend it. But as an independent artist, I feel like the new age independent artists, we are entitled, right? We feel like we don't need to be selling CDs out the back of the trunk. You know what I mean? Like people used to have to do. And I feel like for me this year, that's really where my attention lies, right? Like I've always said it on the stage, you don't need to give me your attention. Nobody, like if I get on stage and I'm not wowing you enough that you're gonna break your neck, I'm not doing my job correctly. But now I'm trying to take it further. Like, you don't need to give me your money. I need to prove to you why you need to give me your money. You'll see why I'm worth more than $25. Like you go to a Saekyi show, you gonna know why I'm worth more than $25. You've been to a Saekyi show, you can vouch for me.
Yeah.
You know? And so really that's what this first show is I built I took a phone booth, I turned it into a listening booth for my music, you know, and in there is a payphone that automates the entire experience. So the shows are 25 cents, like when you go to a payphone to make a call.
That's fire.
And so now people are going to pull up, the location for the event gets sent out the week of, your RSVP, you pull up with your quarter, you put it in the phone booth. If the phone rings, then we're not at capacity. If it don't ring, you should have came earlier.
Damn.
You know what I mean? And we rock out the event like that. No openers. It's just us. Go in there, have a great time. There's going to be a DJ. Go have drinks. You know, it's just, all in all, I really want to focus on.
I got to see what I'm doing on the 28, bro.
It's all about growing the community, man, you know, and thanking the community, you know. Like I said, I'm self-managed. So without my community, I am nowhere near. I'm not even here, bro. Without my community is Smith and them. So when you see Smith and them vouch for me, subconsciously you go, all right, let me actually like check this nigga out. He's not just some random person trying to waste my time.
Yeah, facts.
You know? And so without my community, I don't have anything. So this year I was like, hey, I want to prove to my community already that, yo, I see y'all, I respect y'all, and I thank y'all for showing me love. And then on the other side, to the new people, I want to prove to you, you should join this community that we're building, because VA music right now is one of the greatest undergrounds in music right now. You know, and if you're missing out and you live in Virginia, you're going to be a late one when it comes to
facts.
2 more years now. Like,
I
really think this year might be the one. So it's like, I view it like that. So we focus on community-based growth. I don't care about no label. I don't care about any real big money that somebody has. You know what I mean? If my people around me are fucking with it, if they want to see me perform, if they want to come out to those shows, that's where I want to be. Because that's where I live. You know what I mean? I live on the stage and I live with my people. So that's kind of how I'm looking at the year for, you know, as a whole. You know what I mean? And you know, the album, I feel like, reflects that too. You know what I mean? 100%. The tape is, like, it is a part of me, a story of me, and the things that I had to go through to learn different things. You know what I mean? Angels Don't Call Me is just Saekyi in 2019. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just, actually not even 2019, it's just me in 2018 actually, you know? And it's me maturing to the point where I can actually tell that story, you know, and having the respect with my girl who allowed me to tell that story. You know what I mean? And, you know, and then just being able to get it out in the right way with the people around me helping me to do that. So
facts.
Yeah, man, it's just a lot of work. That's what the future is going to
100%. Yeah, I could tell that you definitely put a lot of work in it, just by like the level of confidence that you have and how you speak about like the stuff that you've accomplished. So it's definitely there. I definitely see it. And
thank you.
You know, like I said before, just like the art direction and how you put your work out and just the presentation of it shows that like you put the work in.
No,
like you put the work in.
Man, 100%. Yeah, no, if I'm gonna do anything, it's I'm gonna work. You know, I've said it to one of my really close friends, my best friend actually, Donnie Killjoy, and I had a lot of best friends. You'll hear me say, yeah, you're gonna run this back and be like, damn, this thing got like
I've
10
heard
of
that
them.
a couple times, yeah, but I get it, bro.
But I was telling him, I was like, I'm not naturally talented. I don't believe that. You know what I mean? I don't think I can't sing the best notes. You know what I mean? I can't play any instruments, right? But what I can do is that I'm going to work my ass off. I'm going to study. I'm going to, you know, figure out the history of what I'm getting into and how that impacts the next thing. And stylistically, I'm going to do whatever I can in that sense, right? So in cases, I've made my own cover arts, you know what I mean? I found all the engineers, all the musicians I've worked with. I'll go out my way to get on platforms that I respect heavily. Yeah. You know what I mean? To me, it is that the hardest worker wins.
Yeah.
Nobody remembers the guy that was like, I was also singing on that same stage as Michael Jackson. Like, no, we remember Michael Jackson because he put in hours
put the work in,
top of him being extremely talented, you know? And so I view it in the same sense. I got to be that guy that day in and day out, I gotta work 3 times as hard as whoever's next to me to at least get, you know, some type of attention, at least get somebody to respect it. You know what I mean? So, but that's all we doing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
We're making the ideas come to life.
Facts, bro. So what is the last gem that you would leave for someone who's just trying to like figure their way out, just with being a creative or being a musician, just trying to start out and they just don't know how to go about, or they just don't have enough confidence to believe in themselves to go in the direction that you've had the trajectory to go down? What would you say to that person?
Anything, it's going to be so generalized. I hate to say it like this, but anything you want, you can actually get. I made a phone booth from 1950s into a listening booth that actually works. And it only costed me $1,400. Like I've spent more than that in a 3-month span. You know what I mean? On dumb shit. And so what it taught me was that sometimes we go, oh, when I get the label backing, I'm gonna execute that idea. Oh, when, you know, when I get to this point, I'm gonna do this thing. You know, and I'm at this point where I believe that we don't wait for it. We gotta go take it. I tweeted this, I wanna say like 2 years ago. Nobody's coming to save me. I gotta save myself. You know, so if you have an idea, do it. If you truly believe it's that idea, go do it, execute it, knock it out the park. You wanna throw a show? Throw a show. If there's 3 people who pull up, that's 3 motherfuckers who want to hear you. Like, I think we got to really detach from these numbers and these status symbols that we think are important but can't really like actually comprehend, right? I can't comprehend 1 million people right now. Can't be on that stage and actually execute. But I can comprehend 100 people who are right in front of me and I can touch, are tangible, and I can execute that. So if I can leave anything, bro, everybody should always just, if you got an idea, you believe in it, do it, because it's possible. It's not, you don't gotta wait. So that's the best gem I can leave right now.
And you know, they people always speak about cliches, but cliches are like generally like true. And even though to you that felt general, that was like something that's like vastly true. So like you definitely have to, if you have an idea, just like do that, John. Just go for it.
And I used to, when people used to say that shit to me, I used to call bullshit. I used to be like, oh, they just want to help me. Bro, I had this longest conversation with the homie Ahmad and the homie Q, where I was like, yo, like, there's things y'all were telling me years ago, saying, yo, you got it, just keep going. You got it, just keep going. I used to be like, bro, they just don't want to give me the gems. They're just gatekeeping. Nah, they were right.
That was a real gem, bro.
They said, just keep making the good music and executing the good ideas, and people gonna pay attention.
It's that simple.
Sometimes there isn't more that somebody can actually give you than you have it. Just do it. That Nike wasn't playing when they said it, bro. It's that simple sometimes, you know? And when you reach that next hill where you can't get over it, the answers will be right around you. You know what I mean? I don't think anything is really kept from us anymore. We're in a generation where it's at our fingertips. So yeah,
everything.
So when you catch me next time, you're going to see me doing something. You know what I mean? I know you definitely going to be doing something. You
always, bro.
This nigga crazy. So, we're a generation of people who just trying to make some shit shake. So I think it's the best time for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, man, just thank you, bro. Thank you for sharing your time. Thank you for sharing your energy. Thank you for sharing like your gems and, you know, us having this conversation. This is actually like our first time like actually meeting, so
and it's cool to how fluid it was.
Absolutely, bro. I mean, that's just like a testament just to who you are as an individual and being so open and you know, as I said earlier, just your persistence. So wanting to be on here, and making me aware of like who you were like as a person, who you are as an individual, who you are like as a musician, and I just know this talk is going to be so much more for like people who are going to listen to us. So I just want to say thank you, bro.
Nah, man, thank you. Like I said, I love the platform. I love what you're doing. I love how you're doing it. You know what I mean? If you're always talking about us and like us creatives and how much you like appreciate what we're kind of creating, without your platform, we wouldn't really have a place to speak. And I feel like there's a lot of scammers and a lot of people who are like do things half-assed, and I feel like I can tell and I know from seeing it, you go the extra mile.
Oh yeah, I definitely put the work in for sure.
You put the work in, bro. So I really appreciate you having me, man.
I'm definitely find a way to like pull up to the show, because that definitely seems like an experience to be a part of, and I definitely don't want to miss it, as you stated. But yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Once again, thank you. This was a pleasure. My name is Antonio Knoxx. That is Saekyi.
Yes, sir. Saekyi.
Say it.
KYI on all platforms, everywhere you can find me. I'm very streamlined like that. So you type in SAEK, somebody who looks like me is gonna pop up.
Exactly. Facts. And this was the GRDNT Radio.